Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everybody is awake and in good faith. Alright, so based on the caption below, you guys already know what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be giving you guys a story time about my experience being 18 and pregnant. I don't really like talking about it because it gives me mixed feelings, but at the same time, I mean, that situation ended well for me in the end, so I honestly have no regrets. Would I have done things differently if I could turn back the hands of time? Yes, but I don't regret the experience either way because I have my son is now 15 years old. He's a great kid and it only gets better. So I don't have any regrets. Was I too young for that at the time? Yes. Should I have waited? Yes. But with God in the midst of it, it ended well for me. So anyways, guys, so basically what happened was I was 17 years old. I was 17 years old. I was graduating high school. I had just finished my exams and it was graduation time. My mom decided that she think it was best for me to go to New York just for a little break, just a change of environment to see how it would turn out or whatever the case may be. Now, this wasn't my first time visiting the US. It was just another experience for me because I've been traveling. I've been visiting since I was 11 years old. So anyways, I flew to New York. I didn't attend graduation. My mom had collected the certificate. I just wanted to go. And I flew to New York. I was 17. I was in New York for a couple months. It was good. It was a good and a bad experience. I went through some stuff, but I won't talk about that. So after about 4 or 5 months, I decided that I wanted to go back home because things wasn't really going the way how I expected them to go. So at the time I had a babysitting job and the lady was really cool. We became friends. I had no issues with her, to be honest, but I just wasn't comfortable. I felt, even though I was there and I was with family and friends, it didn't feel the same to me. I really missed home and a lot of stuff was going on that I don't wish to speak on, but I wasn't comfortable, so I wanted to go home. So I called my mom and I told her that I really didn't think it was working out for me and I wanted to go back home, and she was like, no, there's nothing here for you to do. I think you should stay there and figure it out and just try to make it work. But to be honest, I wasn't telling my mom every single thing that was happening there, so she didn't really understand exactly what I was going through. She just thought that I just wanted to have my own way and just leave. So anyways, I left New York and I went to Philadelphia because it wasn't working out with the people that I was staying there with. So I went to Philadelphia. I was cool for a while, but like I said, visiting here and living here is a whole different experience. It's like when it actually hit me that I wasn't going back, I started suffering from depression. I started suffering from anxiety. I just wasn't happy. I just wanted to go home. I wasn't adjusting well at that point. And my mom kept saying, no, you should stay there. You should stay there. I don't know why you want to come back, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So I called my father and I told him about the situation and he was like, okay, cool. So I was still there on my US visiting visa. I haven't really overstayed because I wasn't there for 6 months. I think I was there for 5 months, and about 5 months if I'm remembering well. So my father bought me a ticket to go home back to New York, to Jamaica. So I went back to Jamaica. Long story short, there's so much more to this story, but if I should tell you everything, it would take all day. So I went back to Jamaica, guys. My mom wasn't pleased about it, but I was happy because that's where I wanted to be. That's home for me. That's what I was used to. And I just wasn't adjusting in America as a young person. I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't from there, or I really don't know. I can't explain it. Or maybe it was the other stuff that was going on around me that I don't wish to speak on. So I went to Jamaica. And before I left Jamaica, to be honest, I had a boyfriend. But when I left, it wasn't really the same because, you know, long distance relationship can be a hassle, especially when you are young. You know, you meet different people. Everybody's just doing their own stuff. I wasn't really taking it seriously at that time, to be honest, because I felt like it wouldn't last anyways because of the distance. So when I went back to Jamaica, we started talking again. And at this time, I went to Jamaica. I got back to Jamaica in November of 2005, I think it was. So we started talking again and whatever. And that was November of 2005. So December came, we went to a wedding. His brother had gotten married. We went to the wedding. By the end of December, I realized that I missed my period. So I was like, something's not right, because I've never had that problem before. No, my mother is a very strict person. So first things first, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I cannot tell my mother this. At that time, I was back and forth between my mom and my aunt's house because I wasn't going to school, I wasn't working or doing anything. I was just home during the days. I was either with my mom or my aunt or my boyfriend or at my boyfriend's house. So I told my aunt about it because I didn't know how to tell my mom about it, and she was like, well, I don't think you should get an abortion because I just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm sure this is the last thing that my mother wants to hear at this point, you know. Just graduating high school, your parent is expecting you to go and find a job or go to college or to do something with yourself. They're not expecting you to leave high school to come and tell them 3 months later or 5 months later that you are pregnant. So I know it would have been a disaster. So anyways, guys, I went to my aunt's house for a while and I didn't tell my mother what was happening. I think 2 months had passed. And my mom, one day my aunt was like, well, you have to let her know before it gets any further so she know exactly what is happening. And I'm like, no. So anyways, my aunt came from work one night and she was like, let's go by your mom so we can tell her what is happening. My boyfriend was there at the time also, so we drove to my mom's house because she had just came from work as well, and I called her and let her know that we had something to tell her. No, all this time I'm nervous, you know. I'm fully nervous because I don't know how she's going to accept the news. Well, I knew it wasn't gonna, it never let her end well. I know that that's the last thing she wanted to hear. So anyways, we drove to my mom's house, and when we got there, my aunt and I went inside the house, and long story short, my aunt told her that I was pregnant because I didn't know how to even say it out of my mouth. So she started crying, of course, and she told me that my mom told me that I had to get an abortion or I would have to leave the house. So my aunt was like, no, she don't support that. That's not a good idea. She shouldn't allow me to do that. What if I'm not able to have any more kids in the future and stuff like that? Of course, my mom didn't care about all of that. She's just looking at the fact that I sent you to school to make something of yourself. You graduated high school. only to become pregnant a couple months later. She's also looking at the fact that I sent you overseas for another opportunity to see if maybe you could have started a whole new life, and you literally begged me to come back here only to find out that you are pregnant. So, you know, it was kind of disappointing for her, like any mother would be. My father was already in and out of my life. My mother was basically a single mom. So, you know, that was just the last thing she wanted to hear. So she gave me an ultimatum. My mother literally told me that I had to have an abortion. I would have to leave the house. So I told her that I'm not going to do that. You know, long story short, yeah, I told her that I'm not going to do that, and she started packing my stuff and put them outside. So I took my stuff and I went to my aunt's house to live. Basically, I was back and forth between my aunt and my boyfriend's house. It even got to a point where she started calling and convincing me that I need to get it done, and she was going to put half the money and that my boyfriend should put another half of the money. He did come up with half of the money, but everybody else was like, no, don't do it, because you never know what might happen in the end. So I did not. So she wasn't pleased with the situation, and my mom stopped talking to me for the entire pregnancy. My mother wasn't talking to me for about a year, I think it was. I think I wasn't talking to my mom for about a year. I don't remember if it was that long, but I know it was almost a year. Oh, no, it's not a year, because when I went to have baby, she came to the hospital to visit me after I had my son. So it wasn't a year, it was like 9 months. So when I gave birth to my son, she came, I think, yeah, she came to visit me in the hospital the day I gave birth to my son, along with my aunt. And that's when we still didn't really have a relationship at that point, but I guess she was trying to loosen up and accept the fact that what's done is already done, you know. And during the 9 months that I was pregnant, like I said, she would buy stuff and give them to my aunt, and my aunt would buy stuff as well, and she would take it to me. But I guess she didn't want me to know that she was doing that, because she didn't want to feel like she was supporting me or encouraging me or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, she knew that she had to get over the situation. So after I had my son, I was living at my son's father's house, and I mean, it was rough because I was 18. I had no experience being a mother. I had no business being a mother. I wasn't able to enjoy certain things because I had to focus on my son. I now had to focus on how am I going to figure out life with a child, being a young mom. But funny enough, I had my son in September of 2006, and I got a job in December of that same year. Gotta work. And like I said, guys, it was a struggle for me. It was a struggle as a young mom with no experience. I had to make sure that I had a job to be able to provide for my son. Of course, I had help from my family and friends, but you know, most of the burden is still on you because you're the child's mother. You still have to physically take care of this child. I was suffering from depression because it was all new to me, and I just did not know what to accept, how to deal with the situation. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going through the motion, pretty much. But my son is 15-year-old today, guys. I'm trying not to make the video too long. My son is 15-year-old today, guys, and to be honest, I think that was the best thing that has ever happened to me. My son is 15-year-old. He's very intelligent. He's very smart. He's a well-mannered kid. Like, I literally have no regrets. Like, I couldn't ask for a better child. And when I think about it, and you know what's also funny about this, guys? My son is like the apple of his grandmother's eye. The same granny would tell me, "Some have to leave if I'm not going to have an abortion. So, long story short, I'm just here to say that as young mothers or even fathers, because guys go through it as well when their girlfriends get pregnant at an early age, they both have to deal with the situation. Talking about the guys that actually stick around though, all hope is not lost. If you're an ambitious person, you will survive. If you really want to, if you want to still go ahead and achieve things in life, it's possible. I was working while I had my son. I went back to college to get my degree a couple of years after, even though I didn't finish school. But I'm just saying, I went back to school, and the world is yours. You just have to decide what you want. Like, having a child does not stop you from accomplishing things, and that's just basically what I wanted to say to you guys, right? So that's that. Have a great day, guys. Please like the video if you like the message that I am sending today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I don't remember if I said that in the beginning because it's been a long story. And stay safe, guys. Bye.